Welcome, 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 grade 7 scientists. This is our first PowerPoint lesson of COVID-19 school break. How are we going to use this PowerPoint lesson? I'm going to talk over or narrate the lesson, and what you guys get to do is you guys get to decide whether you're ready to move forward or whether you need to take a break or rewind the lesson. That's the beauty of the video. If you are not understanding something, you can pause it, you can write down a question, you can write me an email, and if you're ready to keep going, then keep going, and then you can go finish the work that is assigned on Pearson's or Schoology or Nearpod, okay? Okay. All right, guys, we are going to start off with the word diversity. And to go with this word, I have this picture in the background. This picture shows diversity. Another way I could say this is by saying this picture is very diverse. So what does that mean? Well, take a minute and look at this picture. What are you seeing? Is everything the same? Is everything different? What I'm seeing is I'm seeing a variety of people that all look different. They're not the same gender. They may not be the same age. They're not the same race. They may not even be the same religion. So they're all different. And that's basically what diversity means. When you hear the word diversity, or when you hear that something is diverse, it means there's a lot of options, there's a lot of variety, there's lots of differences, okay? However, I do want to throw in some new vocabulary for you guys, or excuse me, review vocabulary. When I am looking at this picture, yeah, everybody looks different, but I do see that they're all the same species. So I'm looking for a word that you already know when you have a group of the same species hanging out at the same time in the same place. What is that called? Same species, same time, same place. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about it, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you get it? It's a population. So I am looking at a population of humans, but within that population, they're all diverse. Okay, so right away, I'm going to throw in a new scientific word. I'm going to throw in the word biodiversity. And as soon as it comes on the board, I'm going to dissect it into 2 parts. I've got bio, that means living, and I have diversity, which we just talked about. It's differences in variety. So biodiversity is the diversity of living things, and this can be animals, humans, plants, and even ecosystems. So that's going to be our focus for today, biodiversity. So let me throw 2 pictures at you. I've got picture A, it has a cornfield. Corn, I see grass, I see sky. I don't see a lot of anything else. Picture B, I have like this super cool jaguar chilling on a log. There seems to be another tree above him. There's different types of trees in the background. I see different shapes of leaves. I see different colors. I see plants and animals. So which picture has more biodiversity? Is that going to be A and B? And just to refresh your memory, biodiversity is differences in living things, and that can be in an ecosystem or animals. So at this picture, let's talk about an ecosystem. So what do you think? 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm hopeful that you chose B because I can see at least 1, 2, 3 different types of species. And in A, I really just see corn. And that is only 1 type of species. So that is low biodiversity. And letter B is more biodiversity. All right, so why do we care? Because more biodiversity equals a more stable ecosystem. So what does stable mean? It means that it doesn't really change regardless of what happens. So another way to say a stable ecosystem is an ecosystem that is more likely to survive changes. And these changes can be natural disasters. They can be diseases, like right now you could say the human population is experiencing a change in this COVID-19 virus. It could also be man-made, pollution, global warming, habitat destruction. So you want a more stable ecosystem, the most stable ecosystem you can get so that you can bounce back should anything happen. And think, guys, things happen all the time. Wildfires in Australia, having a warm winter, super cold winter, Again, diseases like bacteria, fungus, these are all common things that happen. So you need to be able to bounce back. So I've used this example many times in class. I'm going to use it again. Let's pretend that these group of kids are my new class. And I got, I got some goodies, and I got some kids that need a little work, and I got everybody in between. So, guy on the left with his hand up, he's kind of stinky. You can smell the sweat from his pits. He just talks nonstop. The guy in the middle, has his phone in his pocket. That's against school rules. And the girl on the right, I'm going to call her Vanessa. She is just great. She is a great listener. Her homework is done. She's a delight to have in class, okay? So I said, you know what? I'm done with Stinky. I'm done with Mr. iPhone in his pocket. I am just going to go with Vanessa. So what do? I clone Vanessa. Everything about Vanessa I love. Everything I like. I'm going to keep her just as she is. And it's perfect. Things are getting done. Videos are being watched. Pearsons are being completed. I couldn't be happier. And to show how proud I am of Vanessa, I am going to make her some peanut butter cookies. Yum, yum, peanut butter cookies. But, dun, 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 Vanessa has a peanut allergy. And unfortunately, I have just wiped out my entire class of Vanessas. Okay? I had a very low biodiversity class. I just had Vanessa's. And when unfortunately I changed her situation, I accidentally fed her peanut butter cookies, she is all gone. Now, if I would have kept my original class with all of their quirks and bad habits, when I fed them my peanut butter cookies, my deadly peanut butter cookies, yeah, I would lose Vanessa, and I might lose the girl next to Mr. Stinky. I'm going to call her Hannah, blonde hair, pink outfit, and of course Mr. Stinky would be gone, which might be a benefit for the class, but I would still have my students in the middle. And maybe those students in the middle would go home and say, hey, guess what? Come to this class. We have extra room for students. And eventually I would get back my 6 students. Okay, so I lose 3, but I'm still keeping 3, and my class is going to recover. If this was an ecosystem, my ecosystem would recover because I wouldn't wipe out every single organism. So again, biodiversity is good. Biodiversity is stable. Stable is good, okay? Moving on. Let's talk about something that we discussed in class before we left. Do you remember succession? Succession, we called it ecological succession. It is a series of steps that happens when you have bare new land. We had primary and secondary. Maybe I mentioned that. I don't know. I'm going to wait for the GIF to loop. All right, so here we go. We start with bare rock. We've got 2 species that come up, lichen and moss. Then we got some other small plants, and eventually we have a lot of big trees. We have grass, we have shrubs. We probably still have our lichen and moss if we look hard enough, but we got a bunch of different species. After all those plants show up, the animals will follow. All of a sudden we'll get birds, we'll get worms and bugs in the dirt, we'll get deer and rabbits. So we're going from nothing, from bare to absolutely zero biodiversity, to eventually succeeding really high biodiversity. And again, that's good because it's stable. Let's look at another picture. Again, this is an example of biodiversity. We start with very little. Look at 3 years of having new land. See time at the bottom. At 3 years, we just have some really small, short plants. Annual plants means that they only show up every year and they die in the winter. Then after 5 years, we have a little more diversity, and 40 plus years, we have lots of diversity. I see shrubs, I see plants, I see pine trees, I see really tall trees. So this is good. Biodiversity, good. Biodiversity is so good, it's so important because it has value. So it does something, it's worth something. And we're going to say that biodiversity has 2 types of value. It has ecological value and something called economic value. Have you heard of the word economics or economy? Think about it. Let's start with ecological value because we are learning about ecology. What does ecological value do? What does it mean? Well, it basically gives us as human resources. What am I talking about? I'm talking about shelter. The ecosystem can give us a place to live. Having lots of species of plants means lots of different materials that we can live under or build things out of. It gives us food, guys, animals that we can eat, plants that we can eat, and even gives us medicine. So have you guys ever used a leaf or, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another brand name of the pill aspirin. Aspirin you use if you have a headache, maybe if you have a fever. That actually comes from the willow plant. So plants and animals have all different sort of compounds in their body, and sometimes we can use that to help treat pain and disease. So these are all the ecological values that having biodiversity gives us. Okay, well, I talked about the other type of, again, another type of value that biodiversity has is economic value, which can translate to money, 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 money. So having high biodiversity can give us things that we can exchange for cash. So let me just give you two really quick examples. First one being crops for farming, okay? We all need food to eat. That's not going away anytime soon. One way that you can make a living is by growing food and purchasing food and selling food. Maybe some of you want to be chefs. You're going to need food to make a product to sell to people. Another example of economic value could be tourism. All right, people want to go to beautiful places and see interesting trees and plants and animals. And maybe if you have an Airbnb or a hotel on a beautiful, diverse area of land like Hawaii or Ecuador, you can make money showing people the beautiful land in tours. Okay, so on that note, you guys have a Schoology assignment that I want you to do. Number one, I want you to log on to Schoology and I want you to read B's economic value. I want you to answer this question after you read it. How do bees provide economic value to humans? A sentence starter could be, bees provide economic value to humans by ... You fill in the blank after you read, and this needs to be submitted into Schoology. That is how I'm going to grade you, okay? So I'm actually going to go to the next slide, and I am going to read the article to you if you need help with the reading, okay? If you don't, just skip the rest of the video and go on to the Schoology assignment. If you would like to listen to me read it, stay put. But either way, guys, your answer to the question, your answer to number 2 on this slide needs to be submitted into Schoology. When we think of bees, we think of pesky, buzzing insects that sting us and ruin outdoor gatherings. We might wonder, how badly can we possibly need bees? The truth is, bees are an incredibly important part of our ecosystem on Earth, no matter how annoying they may be to humans. Unfortunately, bees have been disappearing around the world for some time now, and their mass disappearance continues to present new problems around the planet. In 2012, scientists have discovered that 1 million bee colonies have disappeared every year. This number is probably much higher today. The mass deaths of honeybees have been linked to something known as colony collapse disorder, which may be caused by chemicals farmers use on farms. How should something so small be so important to us humans? Bees are used to pollinate many crops. For instance, a large portion of California almond crop, which relies heavily on bee pollination. Bees are also essential for the pollination of apple and citrus crops.